What's a good word, everybody? It's your boy DKB here. I have a special guest. I know you guys been wanting me to stream a little bit more, and I wanted to collab with somebody else from the AFC East, of course, as well. It's my boy Brandon here. He runs the Fins Football Podcast. My man, I'll let you introduce yourself to the people real quick.
All right, thank you. Yeah, it's been a long time. Me and do you go by Dion on the stream? What do you go on by?
Whatever. Some people know me as Dion. Some people just go by the DKB title that's on here.
DKB.
Yep.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, because I go as B Trill, so I'm B Trill with Fins Football Podcast. Yeah, we met years ago in Vegas. Been a little bit since we caught up, and just ironic we're doing the same thing. So yeah, I have my own stream, my own podcast on my own YouTube channel. We'll drop the link once we get everything going. But yeah, I've only been doing this. I'm a rookie. This is my end of my rookie season. I'm starting off with season 2. So I just dropped, I think, episode 1 of season 2. So I started in September. I just bring the latest and greatest updates, predictions, recaps, anything. Now we're into the off season. So yeah, we're going to be diving into a lot. But excited. Thank you for bringing me on to your show. Again, I'm trying to build my following, let everybody know that I'm out there. So, of course, I do focus on Miami Dolphins football. But, of course, around this time, mock drafts are fun. So even as a Jets channel, if you want to hop over, check out, see what I'm doing, more than welcome. If you know some Dolphins fan, hey, tell them to knock on my door. Always welcoming new subscribers, new suggestions. Again, I'm a rookie, so I'm learning. But yeah, go ahead and give us some thumbs
No
up.
doubt. And again, we'll probably drop some stuff throughout the live stream where you guys can find them. I do have it in the description for you guys as well. But you know me, I try to always recommend, division opponents. We need to stay locked in, kind of get an idea for what's going on. So
Exactly.
He's pretty thorough in the stuff he drops out. So I would check him out. I would make sure you get him locked in so you know what's going on there. And it should help us out. We'll be dropping mock drafts and whatnot pretty soon. So appreciate you, my boy Danger. I see you coming through. I wanted to kick things off today with us, just kind of a whole, right? Let's call it a state of the union, if you will. And I'll let you lead us off on this. Where do you feel about kind of how the season ended for the Dolphins, and what's the feeling around the early off season?
Yeah, disappointing. I'm sure you share that as a Jets fan. I'm definitely gonna. I have some questions for you and some big news, not good news. Well, maybe how you look at it today. What happened with the Jets and Devontae Adams, but yeah, with Miami, just like New York, very, very high expectations. We both open up the wallet. We paid some big players. We got some players in free agency. So we were building off of the year before. And honestly, I was already stacking money for Super Bowl. I was literally planning on buying a Super Bowl ticket. So that's always been a dream of mine. Of course, born and raised being in upstate New York, I am surrounded by Bills fans. And of course, we kind of share the pain of I haven't seen a Dolphins Super Bowl in my life. So, of course, that was all in the 70s. But I want to see a Super Bowl. So I had very, very, very high expectations. That's the highest you can go with a Super Bowl ring. But I thought we had the roster on paper. Of course, you can never predict injuries. You can never predict down seasons. But that's kind of where it finished. This is our first losing season, I want to say, in at least 3-4 seasons. So we finished 8-9. But surprisingly, almost made the playoffs. I was giving up by as soon as Tua went down. I was like, oh, all right, let's take off the hat, the jersey. I was ready to give up, and you'll see that in my streams, but I always have faith in my team. But it's tough when you have expectations that don't live out. When you have that huge offseason, when you have those you get the players that you wanted in your mock draft, and you get the free agents that, are going to plug the holes. And you're like, that's that guy that's going to bring it. And it doesn't happen. So, I mean, how about, I feel bad asking Jets fans when I say it like this, but Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, seeing what they did in Green Bay and you're like, oh, we got so much young talent around us as New York Jets. Brees Hall, he is like one of my favorite players in the league. I wanted Miami to draft him so bad, but I'm happy with Devon Achane. But it's I mean, you guys have such a great roster, and I'm a Buckeyes fan. So I mean, you got my my
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson over there, my GW doing it big. So but I'll spin it to you. I mean, we'll kind of bounce back and forth. I can talk for days about my team, which is why we have these podcasts. But let me spin it back to you. How do you think your season ended? I mean, it ended
Yeah,
early.
yeah, atrocious is the name of the game here, right? I think you made a good talking point, right? The expectations of how you see the offseason developing, the players you acquire, the guys that made sense to move on from, all of those different things. We have Aaron Rodgers tries to rush himself back from injury the year before. We have him running scout team practices and picking interceptions and all this crazy stuff, right? There's a lot of conversations about him returning for, a playoff run if we can make it happen. Full healthy offseason, get him back this year. You add Devontae, midway-ish through the season.
Yeah.
Everything was set like on paper. If you look at this and you take out like coaching staff names, if people don't have an affinity for them, or you take out, so-called bad general managers, whatever the case is, if you just look at these guys on paper, you look at this and say, this is definitely a playoff roster. And then it's, okay, are we talking championship? Are we talking Super Bowl, a wild card exit, whatever? To not even sniff any of that, it just broke my heart into pieces, because it was like and then you have the fallout of having these young guys like Garrett and Brees and Sauce Gardner and stuff, and you start to watch them slowly deteriorate, and then it just slowly sinks in. Same old Jets. Once again, another year. We're watching everybody else in the division get to celebrate to whatever degree that looks like, and we have to hang our hat on like, all right, well, we beat the Patriots once. We're not just, losing 2 games to them again. So There wasn't a lot to really be excited about. The only thing I could really hold my head high for was the fact that we still have a really good core. So I think a lot of the discussions I had anyways was, if you put what people would call a better coaching staff in play, if you took the Dolphins coaching staff, if you took the Bills coaching, like almost any other team's coaching staff, and you inserted it here, you felt like you were talking about at least 3 to 5 extra wins and easy playoff entrance, being able to run deep. So a lot of in-house problems for us, of course. I think we've been able to solve a lot of those. I'm super thrilled about the Aaron Glenn hire, for example. I love everything about the story, just from his persona, how he goes about, handling what seems like negative situations and stuff. So at least going into the offseason where things could have been even worse, I'm feeling like we have a legit shot to try to have that Commanders type turnaround.
Commanders, man. Getting Debo. Oh, man. Watch out, because you got Scary Terry, and then you got Debo. Like, oh, man. I mean, if they get a better running game, if they draft a running back like high, or get somebody in free agency. I mean, right now there's some running backs out there. Najee Harris. I mean, he kind of did have some deterioration, but I mean, we'll get into free agency and all that. I'm jumping ahead.
I'm curious though, along with what you were mentioning before we switch things over to me, where do you fall? Because it sounded like you had relatively high expectations, as you should have for the roster.
I mean,
where do you fall on the Tua conversation? Because a lot of people feel like he's either elite at what he does, and that's fine, and you can win games and make the playoffs and stuff with it. And then there's the people that seem like they're kind of lukewarm on him. Like, yes, we're winning all of these games, but he doesn't really move the needle in terms of like a Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes and all them. Where do you fall at on that?
So I am a huge Tua supporter. So what's ironic is that from the previous history of Nick Saban, I got a bad taste of Alabama in my mouth. So I always hated Alabama. And it was ironic when the whole Jalen Hurts and Tua story came out in college. And I was like, man, who is this Tua kid? And I watched him. He was phenomenal. Then when that hip injury happened, I was like, oh, I hope Miami doesn't get him. I hope we get Justin Herbert. We got Tua, and I swallowed it with the injury. And I was like, you know what? I saw him play. He's a great player. Let's see what he can do. So that day I bought his jersey. I have my 3-year-old has his jersey. I think I have 3 overall jerseys. I got some t-shirts. Like I got a lot of merch that is just Tua. So huge Tua supporter. As far as gameplay, he is more of a game manager. His unannounced skills, though, his the thing that puts him above a lot of quarterbacks is his accuracy and his time of getting rid of the ball. He was averaging like 2.3 seconds of getting rid of the ball and leading the league in passing. That was not last season, but the season before. And he was doing phenomenal. And the next season, last year, he got hurt again. So we saw what he can do in 2023 when he had a full season of being healthy. He finished number 1, I think it was like 7 out of the 10 stats or something that are held by quarterbacks. Like he led the league in pretty much everything, and especially passer rating. So he can get it done. Tua's biggest issue is staying healthy. And with that, lately it's been his decisions when he has the ball in his hand. He can slide, but for some reason, 2nd and 5, he's diving and trying to run over a linebacker, and then he's concussed. I mean, it wasn't a linebacker last year because it was Damar Hamlin, who ironically he was a victim before, and now he was the one handing out the punishment. But Tua, he got better late in the season where we were all applauding his slides. But if Tua can stay healthy, he is a phenomenal quarterback. He is a Pro Bowl quarterback, and I think he can win it. The issue is, can he stay healthy? And I think that's more on our GM, Chris Greer, because he has thought for, I think, 3 years in a row, quote unquote, we are good at offensive line, and then we end up ranking in the bottom 10, I think, past 3 seasons. So it has a lot to do with who the surrounding cast is, but if Tua stays healthy, we can do it. I think we can get a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, most of the comparisons I look like, if I look at the top like old schoolish game managers, right? I think of like Alex Smith is kind of the quintessential guy, and I'm like, Tua takes what he did to another level. Like Tua is going to end up being that ideal like mascot figure for, okay, I have a guy that maybe isn't exceptional in terms of physical ability, but he does all of the quarterback things that you need to get done, the accuracy, the anticipation, the timing, playing within concepts of the offense. He does it at an elite level. So I never really understood a ton of the hate. And like, even when we're getting ready for our matchups, like I hear a lot of the Jets fans or like other division opponents talking about, and they're like, yeah, well, if it's a cold weather game or if it's windy. And I'm like, well, that's the same conversation for everybody. I understand it's highlighted maybe a little bit more for Tua just because the arm strength isn't overly elite. When I'm like, he's still not going to be the reason 9 times out of 10 why you're losing a game.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot goes into that narrative, but as it is right now, those are the stats of, I think it's like below 30 degrees. He only has like 1 or 2 wins in his whole career. But with that, for it to get cold, it has to be late in the season. Late in the season, we always have key injuries. It's not saying that Tua can't play in the cold. He doesn't win in the cold. So with that, you have to have a full team. He's played Josh Allen in Buffalo and put up 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. He's had great games. He just hasn't won, and I don't think that's all on him. Usually a lot of it has to do with key injuries late in the season or just bad coaching decisions. I mean, it's I can throw up different stats, different games, and point to different players, point to other reasons of why we lost the game. Either this person fumbled, this person didn't run the right route, this key play where we should have ran it on 3rd and 1, we decided to do a weird gimmick play and end up losing 15 yards. Like, just weird things happen where it's not always Tua. But when you back up and look at it, the grand scheme of things, yeah, that's the stat. He doesn't have many wins in the cold. So with that, I thought we were going to change that narrative with a few of the games, but again, it just didn't go our way. I think one of them was like a botched kick. Like we
Yeah.
we didn't even get the field goal off. He fumbled the snap, or we fumbled the ball into the back of the end zone a couple times to kill drives and kill leads and lose games. And as a football fan, those frustrating games, you're like, we had it for 3 quarters. What happened?
Yeah, I think those are the worst. Like, it sounds weird. I have to put things in a certain perspective as a Jets fan when we see like how low we played level wise, because it's like, all right, well, we were getting destroyed for 3 quarters, so to see us continue, fucking up in the fourth is nothing. But
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. But those comebacks, they always they feel the best. Like I probably have 3 core comebacks that will never leave my mind. Miami Miracle. The year we went 1-16, Graham Camarillo caught it for a touchdown against the Ravens, and then Chris Chambers back in the end zone against the Bills. I remember those 3 specific comebacks at the end of the game. Like comebacks are like no other. They're few and far in between. You don't always get to see your team come back against a good team to where you're ready to turn the game off, and next you know, you're celebrating at the end. That's got to be the best feeling of why we follow this sport, why we cover this sport.
1,000%. Yeah, I know the clearest one that's stuck in my brain is the miracle with Fitzpatrick getting that last touchdown to Eric Decker against the Patriots. And I remember like the other day, I immediately jump on the phone and I'm talking shit to my brother and all of that. But it's the best. It is the best, no matter if your team's doing bad or they're doing excellent for the season. Like just seeing some of those events, how everything lines up and you start to kind of see that momentum shift and everything. It's awesome.
Well, one of my heartbreaks against the Jets was that Monday night, Wayne Corbett, Vinny Testaverde, that the fake spike, like, oh my, that's so, I was so young. Yeah,
I had to be like, what year is this again? So this is like
this was probably late 90s.
Is it?
I'm talking Wayne Vinny Testaverde.
Yeah, I feel like I'm thinking like 2003 or something, but that might be too late.
Monday night. I'm gonna look it up.
I know that was like one of the first old tapes that somebody threw my way and was like, "You have to go back and watch these."
I was so off. I said late 90s. It was October 23rd, 2000. So yeah.
Okay.
Jets scored 30 points in the fourth quarter. Twice tying the score, sending it into overtime, and then beat us. Yeah,
that's insane because I don't think we've touched
Monday Night Miracle. They were down 30-7. We were up 30-7 and lost 40-37. That's
30 points. I don't think we've had more than 4 30-point games in like the last 4 or 5 years. Like, insanity. Well, on that note,
Testaverde days.
Offseason. Man, those were such good times. Testaverde, Chad Pennington was like the first guy I actually got to physically watch and all that good stuff.
Hey, he was a Dolphin. I have a Chad Pennington jersey. It's an alternate jersey. It's a red number 10 Chad Pennington like practice jersey back when they had those. But
I was gonna say I thought the alternates were like cream colored for you guys.
Yeah, I got navy. I got this silver color. I got like 50 different jerseys. I got Hill in the background because who knows if he gets traded. They said he's not going anywhere, but I don't know if I would take Higgins over Hill right now. But just saying that because we got Waddle for the speed and Hill is just a headache. But I'm jumping into a lot of stuff.
I think that's a good talking point. So all season. Free agents. Where do you want to roll with it? In-house free agents you want to see, where you want to take it?
Yeah. So, we'll call the topic our top 3 offensive needs, or I'm sorry, off-season needs. So I'll kind of just name the 3, and then we can start diving into each if you want to, and then we can kind
Yep.
of kick it back and forth, or however you want to play it. But it kind of branches off of what I mentioned earlier. Tua's got to stay healthy. With that, the number 1 offensive need, offensive line. We need it because honestly, we don't have too many coming back. We have a lot of free agents, and Teron Armstead just needs to retire. That man cannot stay healthy for the life of him. And I'm pretty sure it was the Jets game that he played like 5 snaps and was like, I'm going to go
Yeah.
take a game and a half off. Like, bro, it's late in the season and we need you. Like, when Armstead's on the field, awesome. When he's not, he's got 15 injuries. Like, I think at one point he had an eye, a knee, a back, a shoulder, and a tricep injury all at the same time. Like, bro, hang it up. You're like 38 years old. Like, but yeah, real quickly, I'll go over who the starters were last year. We had
Yeah, I
Teron
was gonna
Armstead
ask
left
because I was
tackle.
thinking Richie Incognito was like the only name outside of Armstead I
Hey,
remember.
yo, did you just hear what happened?
I didn't.
Jonathan Martin, who was the whole bully gate with
Yeah.
Richie Incognito, he just came out that was all a big lie.
Wow.
Bro, we lost
Okay.
draft picks. We lost Pro Bowl players because this man had a lying issue. Like,
I wonder if there's like an appeal process for you
yo,
guys. I'd
I think
imagine
there's
you
like a
should.
Netflix thing that's about to come out, or 2020 or 3030. One of the 6060s is one of them shows. I got to see a documentary on that. I saw it was dropping, but
That's insanity.
yeah. But so yeah, the starters we had last year, we had Teron Armstead / Patrick Paul, our rookie,
I wanted
who
him
I
so bad
love,
last year.
who needs it. He's like 6'8",
Yeah.
350. Like, he's a wall. At guard, we had Robert Jones, ranked dead last in the league. But in the middle, we had Aaron Brewer, who was like a top 5 center. So Aaron Brewer's coming back. Our rookie Patrick Paul's coming back at left tackle. Our guards, Robert Jones, who was dead last, we're probably not going to re-sign him. He's up for free agency. Leon Eichenberg, he's up for free agency. He was a draft pick a couple years ago. Hasn't really done much. Isaiah Wynn, who was injured majority of the year. You might remember him from being on the Patriots. He
Yeah.
came in midway through the season last year and kind of filled in a little bit, but he's also a free agency. We might not re-sign him. Hopefully get him on a low deal. And then right tackle, we had Austin Jackson, who got injured early on, I want to say, injured for the season. Then we had Kendall Lamb come in. We got a bunch of backups: Ryan Hayes, Keon Smith, Jackson Carman, Andrew Meyer. But again, we don't have hardly any of our linemen coming back. So guards is the very number 1 position. I can go over kind of some free agent targets at that position and then maybe drafts, or you want me to kick it to you, or
Let's do the free agents you like for it. And then
go to your
if you
position.
if you have a round 1 guard you like, and then I guess we can kick it over to top need for us.
Yeah. So as far as free agency, I had 4 guards on my list. So number 1 is Will Fries from the Colts. So again, he was opposite side of Quentin Nelson. So they were just a great duo. But Will Fries, I think we're going to sign him because Chris Greer loves discounts and everybody who is dinged up in injury history, hence Tua and everybody else we have. But he broke his leg last year, his tibia, in week 5. So let's see if he'll be ready. Tevin Jenkins, who was on the Broncos, he's my number 2. Mekhi Beckham, Super Bowl champion with the Eagles. So he is my number 3. I know he bad taste in your mouth, your draft pick. But yeah, here he goes and wins the Super Bowl and looks better. And then last on the list, maybe a rotation player. I have James Daniel. So that's my number 1 position at guards. What do you got as your number 1 need for the offseason?
Yeah, it's tough. I bounced this idea around because I didn't want to necessarily have to go with the status quo. But I mean, when you look at it, the name of the game is you go as far as your quarterback can get you. And so
Got it.
Aaron Rodgers leaving, I am particularly high on Tyrod Taylor. I've actually made the case last year that I wanted him to start. I think he's extremely underrated. His biggest issue was health, and that's going to be the biggest theme for us throughout that entire quarterback room because it's Tyrod Taylor. I don't think he's ever played a full healthy season, if I remember correctly. Matter of fact,
Yeah.
and
Maybe
then
with
we
the Bills
have
back then when he actually went to the playoffs. I think that was the only time.
I think, yeah, and even then, I think he was getting his like chest caved in during the games, and was like
Yeah.
having to come out.
Yep.
So it hasn't been good.
I remember Justin Herbert. That's how he started his first game. It was week 1. He went to go get a shot in his chest, and they accidentally like punctured his lung.
Yes,
And that's how Justin Herbert's career started. They're like, "Hey, rookie, week 1, you got to go in. Tyrod is injured." So yeah, that's crazy.
yeah, I remember some because when we signed him, I remember some fans like jumping on the channel and being like, "Yeah, it was a big conspiracy theory for why this guy like didn't even have a couple shots before then." But yeah, I'm really high on him. I like him. I think he's the quintessential dual threat quarterback that kind of coexist as a excellent game manager. It's obviously not up there because physical traits end up kind of defining him a little bit as well. Lesser arm strength, doesn't really look to be a dual threat quarterback, but he can run and get you first downs and stuff like that. But I wouldn't put him in that Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray type conversation. So I think you can do a bunch of things in your playbook that you want to with Tyrod, and you don't have to worry about him having that Jameis Winston mentality of like it's touchdown or interception everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly what we need while we try to evaluate what we have in year 1 under the coaching staff. But behind him, you got Jordan Travis, the young rookie from last year, FSU. I really liked him as well, but we have a whole debacle with him too.
Isn't he a little guy?
Yeah, 5'11". I want to say he's like 187-ish, but I might be stealing like 10 pounds from him.
How about this guy coming out of Oregon that's 150?
Yeah, I like him. We're talking about I have like Jackson Dart stuck in my head. That's not it.
Oh yeah. He's out of Ole Miss? No.
Damn, I just did a video for him like a month ago. I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about because
we have so many names going through our head right now during the offseason because it's not just your team. Now you're diving into more film with other players, and you're like, oh, I remember going over a mock draft. This when this dude got drafted 3-4 years ago. Yeah, like that's pretty much what I'm running through right now. Like
Dillon Gabriel. That's what I was thinking. Yes. So it's a weird quarterback room. I think we're kind of in flux, right? There's not going to be a clear answer, but I think Tyrod gives you what you want in year 1. Health is going to be a big thing with Jordan Travis because we're just finding out we tried to rush him back, and that ended up being the reason why we never got a chance to see him during practices or anything last year. And then you don't have anything behind him. There was Adrian Martinez, which was a preseason standout quarterback for us, but we picked him up kind of midway through the offseason. Impressed, but I don't think anybody's, tying their careers to him. And then question marks, right? Free agent class isn't great. The draft doesn't, according to most analysts and stuff, present a ton of day 1 options you feel really, really good about.
Yeah.
So you're kind of in no man's land. But it's weird for me because I almost rather have a veteran heavy QB room, and then you offset that with a competition between Jordan Travis and a young rookie. So I was leaning towards somebody like I just had it. Jacoby Brissett. Brissett was another option. Really, really liked.
Hey, he's been everywhere else in the AFC besides the Bills, so
exactly. I mean? Tons of experience, tons of different playbooks, tons of different systems. Generally, I think he's probably like Tyrod Taylor light, maybe. Yeah. So you kind of get the same thing. You don't really have to do anything crazy. If Tyrod ends up coming out, you go right into another experienced game manager. And then those guys
hurt
would be
all the time. Like he'll
all
tough.
the time.
He's a bigger body, so yeah.
all the time. So I kind of like that duality there. And then I would probably pair like Jordan Travis up against. I don't see us taking a quarterback in round one. By the way, I think it should be like a day 3 option for us. Just
Really?
take your dart pick, try to build out the rest of the infrastructure, and then 2026 is supposed to be, the crop, the creme de la creme of all the quarterbacks that
No,
were.
that's true. Yeah.
Take a guy that you feel like you have strong upside with on day 3. Maybe he develops into something and you catch like some Kirk Cousins type fire. But I'm not hitching my wagon or anything there. But
no, you're not gonna sell the team to move up. I keep hearing that it's both New York teams are trying to move up.
yeah, we had so the governor of New
Total
York
stars
has been
best
trying to
friend.
push a bill to get a stadium out there and try to convince ownership to like go out and get a new stadium out there. So I don't know if it'll happen on top of the fact that people are sick of Woody Johnson and want him to sell the team. But
Yeah. But no, I like Danger said. Tez Johnson. That's the dude out of Oregon. The 150. I think he is. He's like the lightest ever wide receiver. But yeah, as Danger was saying, 8 total starts in the past 5 years. I think one of those were with Miami. Or against Miami with who was it with? I mean, he's been
talking
on
about
what,
head
8
coach.
teams? No, I'm talking about what teams he was on. Because he's
Oh
been on.
yeah.
Let's see. Let's see if we can name all. Because he's been on what? Chargers. He's been on the Ravens. He's been on
So
Browns. He's
Chargers,
been
Rangers,
on
Browns, Bills,
Bills. Playoffs. Yeah.
been with Giants.
Giants. Yeah, I forgot he was there for a little bit. But yeah, no, I keep hearing that you guys are going to move up for Cam Ward. Honestly,
Yeah,
I
I
think
don't love it.
I don't know. I think about out of all the prospects, of course, I keep hearing whispers from Miami U with being a Dolphins fan, but Cam Ward, I mean, I think he looks a lot better than Sanders. I think Sanders
Yeah.
is just too cocky. I mean, it's prime time's kid, so you can't expect anything less. But I don't know. I kind of think that you guys might move up for it because you're at 7 right now.
Yeah, but you're
And
talking like probably this year's first, next year's first, maybe even 2027's first, and then probably like a second round pick somewhere.
but I don't think anyone is gonna fall to 7 either and really be available because you already know. You keep thinking quarterbacks are gonna fall, then they always go 1, 2, 3, and it's always like that third one is like, but
Well,
I
I
don't
think
know.
so they compare this to like the Kenny Pickett draft, and then it was him and then like nobody else to like the 3rd or 4th round. So I think
Yeah,
maybe you get it won't be as crazy as that, but I think you see something similar where maybe it's just Cam Ward in the top half or top 10, and then you see Shador maybe like high 20s, and
you
then you
think
don't see
you
anybody
think
else.
Ewers from Texas might just
You were
pop up out of nowhere? I mean, I keep hearing he's looking the best and most day one ready, most ready to start the season.
I think he put something out in like a press conference saying that he's the most day one ready quarterback too. Like I like him. I won't say I'm really, really high on him, but I think the environment that he was in, and then you find out he played on what was it, a stress fracture or like torn labrum or something like that all year.
Yeah,
His
yep.
oblique, a
Yeah.
tear in his oblique all year. That kind of changes up how you think about the year. Having to play ahead of a generational Arch Manning. So like there's a lot of stuff from a
True.
mental
Yeah.
standpoint, playing in a pro
When
style
is he
offense
gonna
I
be ready is the
like.
question.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's kind of the luxury too. That's where a lot of the conversations I imagine will land for the Jets. Do you feel comfortable if Tyrod Taylor can start a full 16 that you're just letting this guy sit all year? And then what do you want to do in terms of attack in 2026? But yeah, I just don't favor. I mean, if they love him, they love him. Cool. I'm going to root for him and we'll see what happens. But I don't relish the idea this year, anyways, with as many holes as we have throughout the roster of having to sacrifice a ton of picks to go and get a guy that, if it was at least somebody with the title of generational, then I'd be like, all right, cool. Obviously, everybody would
Yeah.
love that. But I would want
Like a
as
Travis
close
Hunter?
of a Like, yeah, I'm even thinking of like the Trevor Lawrence draft, right? Like, get somebody as close
Yeah.
to supposed to being a sure thing as possible. Because even as far as Cam Ward goes, like maybe he goes number one, maybe he doesn't, but nobody talks
Well,
about
think
him in like a special sense of the word.
so let's
It's
backtrack real quick. You mentioned that draft. So if you think
mhm.
about it, it went Trevor Lawrence, then at 5 went Tua, Herbert went at 6, and then all the way down was Jalen Hurts.
Well,
Who
wait,
was the first to win the Super Bowl?
Trevor.
Oh
No,
no,
that
Trevor
was the Zach
was
Wilson
after.
draft.
I'm thinking of Burrow.
Trevor,
I'm thinking of Burrow. My bad.
got
I'm
you,
thinking Burrow went first in the Tua draft. You're right. You're
got you,
right.
got you, got you.
Yeah, I always get them mixed up because I wanted Lawrence to go, and then he ended up not going the year before, or he couldn't go the year before. But yeah, I forgot I didn't even get to say my draft targets for guard. It is in the question. So actually, if you want to read Danger's question, that was one of my guards that I was looking at.
Wait, which one did I miss it? Is it this
All of a
Membo one?
sudden,
Oh, got you. Yeah. So all of a sudden, post combine, there's a massive contingent of folks wanting Mimbo at 7. I don't know if I want to O line yet again though in the first though. So curious how the mock goes.
yeah, because he's a guard out there that well they're looking at, I think they said possibly tackle as well, but they're gonna move him into guard.
Yeah.
But that's also like a Will Campbell.
I was gonna
He's
say, do you want to trade up and like move somebody?
honestly, I got like 15 players I'm happy with. Like I always
Okay.
do that every draft to where I'm like, if we get him, I'll be happy. It all depends on how the draft falls, especially when you're in the middle. When you're at 13, I hope there's a high QB run so that way position players are available. Or I want trenches. But
I don't think it's a ton
yeah,
of people ahead of you that need necessarily like a guard specifically either.
exactly. That's why Will Campbell, he's looking at tackle, but with his arm length, he's
Right.
possibly moving inside to guard, kind of what Quentin Nelson did, I think. And then Tyler Booker out of Alabama.
Hmm.
He's one that I want. And then there's also that sneaky pick, that guard out of North Dakota, Gray Zabel. So
Oh yeah, he's been
those
getting a ton
are
of hype.
those are 3 guards that I'm looking at. Though I would say probably 3 out of what I just mentioned would be available at 13, but I think Will Campbell, I think Membo, the one he's talking about at 7, that those 2 will be taken before Miami. But I think we might get Tyler Booker or the dude from North Dakota at guard.
Yeah, Zabel, I think will continue to rise a little bit. So I wouldn't be surprised that if by the 13th pick, if Miami
Yeah.
isn't seriously just considering he's worth the value there.
Yeah.
It do you, so along those lines, are you guys having the conversation around like is taking a guard at 13 too high, or is it
That's the
just
other
get the
thing.
best
Yeah.
person?
Because if you think about it, it's always like tackles get taken way before guards. Guards are usually a late first rounder, early second rounder. Um, but I think at this point, man, we got to stop playing the game and rolling the dice with this offensive line. We need to plug these holes because we did that with the Tua draft. We had 3 first round picks. We used our 3rd first round pick on Austin Jackson at right tackle. And with Tua being a lefty, that's the blind side. So it's like, I don't know. They keep trying to get discounts. And I mean, if Will Campbell's there, get him. You know what I mean? Like that
In a
13,
heartbeat.
Will Campbell's there because he's looking at as a tackle, possibly moving inside. Maybe even Josh Simmons. They're saying that he's tackle that might move inside as well. So there's a lot of offensive line movement that who knows.
Yeah, I'm trying to Laramie Tunsil. Like, if you guys find a way for him to still be there at 13, like that's got to be like a Laramie
Yeah,
Tunsil
actually, I
type
think it was
deal.
at 13 too. Ironically, I think that was that draft. I think it was literally number 13.
Yeah, that would be insane. As
We got
far
so many
as
players off that. So many players off of him.
I feel like the crazy blockbuster drafts that we've seen in like the last 5 years haven't turned out for like NFL draft wise as good as the ones like even 10, 15 years ago. It seems like people ended up just packaging up a lot of stuff and just kind of fucking up the draft hauls that they got. But
yeah,
other team needs.
Oh yeah, I guess we just kind of move along. We're only on number 1. Number 2, I have. Where did I go? Did I go? Yeah, defensive line. So no, defensive line is my number 3. I thought safety. Yeah,
DBs,
nope,
safeties.
safety. Yep, safety is my number 2. Because right now we got my boy Holland, the Snowman. We're pretty much letting him walk. He's 25, but he had a very down year last year. He missed so many bad tackles, like to where he missed a tackle and then 80-yard touchdown. He missed a tackle, 60-yard touchdown. Like it was just, I mean, when you're safety, you are the last line of defense. But I can name like 5 that were like crucial game crunching third downs, and we let up a touchdown. He also was injured a lot last year, so he's on a very down year, where the year before he was Pro Bowl. He was looking like the next best safety, looking like a Hall of Famer. Then he had a down year. So he's going to test free agency. We had Jordan Poyer on the other side.
Yep, gone.
He didn't look good at all. He looked very washed up. He even had, what was it, that bad injury? Oh, no, it was against the Bills game. He cost us the Bills game. We were going to win that game, and he cost it. He had a horrible pass interference on third down, and they ended up giving the Bills like a 60-yard field goal at end of regulation to win it. Like, it was just...
Say inside job.
I guess so. Yeah. You know, he's helping his old squad. But we had Marcus May, who you guys remember.
Yep.
We had him at backup. But, yeah, it was... they're all gone. We don't have one safety. So right now, what I'm looking at is free agency. Where did I go? So the one, Trayvon Moehrig, he was with the Raiders. He got drafted same year as Holland, and ironically after Holland. And I kind of hope he's number 1 on my list. I got him. I got Justin Reed. And then I got the Niners. I can't even pronounce his name. The Hufungo. I can't.
Hufunga.
Yeah. But the issue is he had some injuries. But all these safeties are young. 26, 25. I mean, Justin Reed, he's 28. But also from Minnesota, you got Cam Byam. You got Jeremy Chin. There's some decent safeties out there. We're going to need 2. We need a strong and we need a free safety. So we'll see. That's number 2 on my list, if not number 1. So, but real quick, the drafts. That's what I think we might grab at 13. I'm thinking we get Malaki Starks out of Georgia. Or the one out of South Carolina, I don't want to butcher his name, Nick Amawori.
Iman Worry. Yeah.
Yeah, he's out of South Carolina.
Went crazy.
So one of those 2 safeties, I say we get one in free agency, one in the draft, or double up. But yeah, we need to fill that hole.
A couple of those guys are I want to say generally undisputed first rounders. Are you taking guard over safety?
How the draft falls. If Will Campbell and both safeties are there, get Will Campbell. If Will Campbell's not there and the safeties are, get one of the safeties. If Tyler Booker and the safeties are there, flip a coin.
Fair play. Okay.
What do you got for number 2 on your list?
Yes, it's a coin toss. If we stayed on offense, I would say wide receiver. Obviously, letting Devontae go. Looks like we'll also probably be releasing Lazard. If we couldn't trade for Devontae, I don't think we'll be able to trade Lazard. So after that, you have a UDFA Xavier Gibson as the next man up, and then Malachi Corley, who Yak King, but he couldn't see the field whatsoever last year. So it was super disappointing. But I'll opt for the other side of the ball. I'll go cornerback because that's a very sneaky need too.
Yeah.
I think it's one we can take advantage of. Steve Wilkes, former DB specialist, Aaron Glenn, obviously DB specialist. So
Exactly. Yeah.
I think you could really go and find somebody. Free agent wise, it looks like on paper the name that'll probably stick is going to be Carlton Davis, right? Coming from the Lions, he already has the familiarity. Health is going to be the big thing with him, so maybe you get a good value contract with some incentives on there based on games played, kind of like how we lined up Tyron Smith's contract. Stay healthy, we'll get you paid. Otherwise, bet on yourself. Carlton Davis is probably going to be the name. If it's not him, then I end up start looking a little further down. Like I like the idea of having somebody like maybe a Asante Samuel Jr., maybe a Paulson Adebo as kind of some value picks. I don't want to necessarily have to spend a ton of money there if we're going to reset the market with Sauce Gardner. So we'll see. I do like some of the in-house options we have too. Quantez Stiggers, I was really high on last year, so I'm hoping he gets a strong look at that CB2 job. And then I think draft-wise, the conversation immediately ends up being like Will Johnson or do you trade back and do something? I want to say it's insanity to try to go out and draft Will Johnson, right? Just because two high draft picks. Yeah, you immediately have a good chunk of your cap space tied up in the cornerback room, but you're probably talking about DJ Reed, Sauce Gardner were, I think, generally regarded as a top 5 unit, a duo in the cornerback rankings. You throw Will Johnson out there, if he stays healthy, I think you're probably still in that same group. And then we can't forget we just gave Michael Carter II a big contract too. So one of the top slot cornerbacks. It would be a great trio to have. It probably still lets you do a lot of the same things we wanted to do with Robert Saleh, which is attack, be aggressive, try to get the takeaways. Didn't get that job accomplished last year, but I would imagine we have more luck this year with hopefully playing more man coverage and being able to play to some of the strengths of some of these guys. So I don't think we'll invest a ton into it, but I do think we probably take a reasonable dart thrower like a Asante Samuel, maybe a Paulson Adebo, like I mentioned, and then maybe a later draft pick, right? Probably something day 2, day 3. But yeah, I think that would probably be the most likely next target if we don't go quarterback.
Yeah, honestly, ironically, you read my mind because cornerbacks actually is 4 on my list. It's my honorable mention if we had time. But I'll take DJ Reed off your hands. I mean, we just got rid of Kendall Fuller because he was injured majority of the season. He was our
number 2
be really
behind
good Ramsey. Yeah, I thought he was going to do good, but he had concussions all season long. But Jalen Ramsey, he's our star. He's our stud number 1. We just need to get a number 2. So I kind of had Davis on the list. I had Will Johnson possibly being drafted. So, right along that with you. I'll jump into number 3. I know we're getting towards the end of our episode. Number 3, I mentioned it previously, defensive line. So I think on the outsides or outside linebackers, we're okay. We got Chubbs. We got Phillips and we got Chop. Bradley Chubb, I'm hoping we either trade or restructure because he was supposed to come back last year. He didn't. He kept saying he started the season on the PUP list and never played a snap. So that was disappointing. But as far as Calais Campbell, the man is 39 years old. He is going to retire, but he said he'll come back for the league minimum. He said he might come back. He's looking at it. So I don't think he will. If he does, sure, open arms. But with that, we'll only have Zach Sealer. So defensive line is huge. With that, I think on my list for defensive line, these top guys are going to get signed as well as when I made this list, it was before he got signed. But the one off of the Cowboys, Osaya Odidzowa, he's a defensive tackle for the Cowboys. He just got paid today. So
$80 million or something like that.
Yeah, he got too much money. I'm glad Miami isn't going to go get him. But Milton Williams off of the Eagles, I think he's going to get paid too and re-sign. So next on my list is Javon Hargrave, just because he's got the experience, but he's getting up there in age. He's 32. There's also Levi
Oh,
Onwuzurike.
Onwuzurike, yeah, from the Lions.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's had some injuries, but he's got a good chance of doing something. We just need to fill that hole. There's Jared Reed off the Seahawks. There's Tershawn Wharton. He just won a ring a few years ago with the Chiefs. Puna Ford, he's actually making a comeback. He actually did pretty decent on the Chargers last year. So, defensive line, the middle of the defensive line, we need to work on. We're pretty decent with the outside linebackers. So, that is huge. But as far as draft, I'm looking. Who did I have on there? There wasn't too many defensive lines. I think I only had Walter
Oh,
Nolan.
Walter Nolan.
Yeah, out of Ole Miss. He's actually been a rise lately, so who knows how high he goes. And did I have? I think that was really it for defensive line as far as drafts. I think we're going to fill in the offensive line or later in the draft. I was only looking at first round prospects. I don't think D line is a first round, considering we had Christian Wilkins for some years and then kind of let him go. But number 3, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I'll probably I'll make it easy. I'll just default, right? So wide receiver, I think is, a 2A, 2B type need situation. It's just too big of a gap there. You don't want Garrett Wilson having to trying to do everything on his own. He's more of a finesse guy. He's not really built to have to, shoulder a huge load like he has. Free agent wise, I'm starting to fall into the idea of looking for somebody like Darius Slayton. Just try to find you a really versatile, consistent weapon, right? Because I want a mid-round pick, probably ideally as well. I've kind of backed off a little bit from the Ted McMillan conversations in the first round. Not that he's a bad guy whatsoever, but I think you can probably find similar value and skill set a little bit lower. So I like Darius Slayton, and then you can play around with some fun names like Savion Williams. I want to say the TCU kid, and 3rd through 5th round, something like that. But Darius Slayton will probably be my preferred option, and then we'll see. I know I'm trying to remember the guy's name. He's been rising like crazy since the combine. Marcus something.
McMillan?
Where was he? Not McMillan. Golden? Marcus Golden?
Oh, yes. Yeah. He's number 1 now because of his speed. Because didn't he just put up a 3.29, something like that?
Yeah, he was running something insane, and I think the
Why
biggest question mark was they weren't seeing that speed on film, right? Yeah. But that'll get you, because I think Xavier Worthy was like a borderline first round guy as well.
Because he was so small too. He was just sticks, running out there. So.
I was surprised he didn't get killed, because I was honestly thinking like, all right, somebody's going to catch you on, you're not fully turned around, paying attention. It's going to be a wrap.
I just keep thinking of Pat White. I don't know if you ever remember him. He was drafted by Miami during the Wildcat days. And we're like, oh, yeah, he's going to be a new addition to the Wildcat. This man rolled out left. I still remember it to this day. I thought the man died on the sidelines. Rolled out to the left, hit the sidelines. It was a late hit. It was against the Steelers. Oh, man, do I remember it. Bro, his helmet turned sideways, and this dude was just drooling, knocked out, didn't move. Like, I was like, hey, he died. But no, he went to baseball. That was his last snap, and he went to play baseball. So, whenever I think of small guys, I'm like, just go play baseball. But
I miss those hits like that. I'm trying to remember who it was on the Bears that got like folded in half on the kickoff return. But the good days. The hits were hits for sure.
Yeah. We're definitely a softer league these days. But I mean, it goes with the territory, because you got to think 30 years ago, players aren't what they are today. The speed, the strength, the sizes, like every year they're getting bigger, stronger, faster. And it's like, man, these 12-year-olds are looking like grown adults nowadays.
100%.
It's the hormones and the food and the training and the technology and everything they have at the grasp of their fingers nowadays is just They can't.
Yeah, it's
They
different.
can't let him off the leash. Hey, go hit him. Go water boy him. He'll probably die on the field. They can't do that anymore. So
Yeah, you start to. I knew it changed for sure when like a lot of these offensive linemen that were tipping over 300 were talking about, I might be able to run a 4.8. I'm like, what?
yeah, yeah, yeah. How about wasn't it Will Campbell? He just ran a 4.9 at like 320 and 6.8. Or yeah, like it's like what? Like how are you physically able to do that? Um, thank you. I appreciate the subscription. I'm all the support I can get. Yeah, that's what I'm looking to do. Get my name out there. So yeah, any support. And I take it you're a Jets fan being on this channel, but I go over everything. I go over all football. So great. What else?
You
What else
mentioned
do we
just to wrap up the other conversation. I know you're mentioning you had your honorable mention, which I want to say was
Oh
the
yeah.
cornerbacks.
Yep.
DJ Reed sounds like the preferred option if we're not gonna be keeping them around.
Yeah, I mean, he's decent. He's still what 28.
Yeah.
So he's not in his 30s yet. That kind of seems to be the drop off like that I've seen the past few years with like, Xavier Howard and a few other like Pro Bowl names that just once they hit that cliff, it's like, whew, kind of hard to come back from. I mean, cornerback, it's just such a hard position because you're backpedaling and everything, but
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think if I threw out an honorable mention, it'd probably be right tackle for us just because Morgan Moses looks like he might be walking out the door for us. And we have a
yeah.
young guy in Carter Warren that might be a good in-house option, but I want to keep building the line through the draft. I think we got mostly young pieces that are actually doing well for once and not just getting our, quarterbacks' helmets caved in. So
Yeah.
we shall
Yeah.
see.
I mean, right now, that is the biggest strength of this draft. Like we were talking about earlier, it's not the skill position, it is in the trenches. That's where this draft is so deep and so good to where we might have 15 Hall of Famers in the trenches, whether O line or D line. And then with that, you might be able to find some hidden gems in the third and fourth rounds that it can still be starters one day. So,
Yeah, I mean,
we gonna do it?
yeah, that's the hope. That is the hope. How do you feel? Tackle isn't the biggest need, but I know an upgrade that might be
Yeah.
lingering around for you guys is Josh Simmons. Where are you
Yeah.
following him?
Yeah. No, I got him as my my areas to look at because again, Tron Armstead, he's kicking to the curb. Austin Jackson coming off a season-ending injury, and we just have our rookie Patrick Paul, who might be a starter. But with that, yeah, we'll probably definitely need a swing tackle, if not another starter. So tackles on the list, I would say definitely top 5. But my other honorable mention, backup quarterback. If Tua goes down, we need a winner.
Yeah,
On that
the Mike
list,
White experience didn't get it done for you.
yeah, no. I mean, Snoop Huntley, he did all right,
Yeah,
but
I liked him.
Mike White was just, but yeah, with that, maybe a Jameis Winston, who knows? Whoever the Steelers get rid of, whether it's Fields or Wilson, but we'll see.
Touche. All right. So let's get into it here. Obviously, we're going to be going with the Jets and Dolphins, and probably won't have time to talk about all the stuffs in here, but we'll see what we could get through. I will leave it up to you. Is there any scenario here where you're feeling like you might want to trade up?
No, I think Miami's got too many holes, not enough caps or draft capital that right now we kind of need to win now with what we can. So I
Got
don't
you.
see a trade up. If anything, I see a trade back. So
Fair play. Fair play. I think we're about in the same boat. So I will get us going. Let's see how things fall for us, and it doesn't look great. So Cam Ward goes at the top. I'm still surprised that we're seeing like Shador Sanders goes off.
Hunter makes sense.
Yeah,
Carter makes sense.
I don't know if he should like Hunter in any like most drafts, he should be going top 3. I don't know if the Giants per se are in that best situation because that Daniel Jones situation I hear is it's only getting worse.
Yeah, I'll take Danny Dimes as a backup.
Fair. Carter makes sense. Ted, I think that's probably a little rich, but
yeah,
I can see it. So this is almost a worst case scenario from like a Jets perspective, because I think we would prefer to see Mason Graham here. We would prefer Will Johnson still on the board. But I think you want one of those blue chip like defense guys. So before Abdul Carter started going crazy this offseason, we thought he might be there. He looks like he could be a number one pick. Mason Graham goes off just ahead of us. Smart move by the Raiders here. I would probably say, so the conversation for us, I think this is generally where it falls. I think either Graham or Johnson is usually on the board for us. And then the conversation goes, do you go offense? If you don't feel comfortable with either one of those, right? Tech, you don't want to spend a top 10 pick on a number 2 receiver. If it's Warren, do you want to put that much investment in a tight end? Yeah, I think that's usually where everybody's falling.
Exactly.
And then they go back to the conversation with Bowers from last year, right? Two totally different style tight ends. But I do look at Tyler Warren in the mode of like a George Kittle type guy. So I think
was gonna say, yeah,
if you're getting a tight end one out of the gate, then you make the investment and you don't look back. He just offers too much. Safety would be too high to take here for me. There's not a tackle that I necessarily love. I would probably look to trade back. You seen somebody?
Will Johnson's there.
He's there. He's there. I would see. I'm surprised they have him this low on their ranking. I wonder if there's something going on with the injury still. Okay. PFF does theirs different. I thought they offered the trades on here.
There's other ones that do offer. I think that's a different league. I think that's like PPF or something like that. That's a different.
Yeah, Pro Football Network. I think I usually use
PFN. Yep, that's what it was.
Draft Network or Draft Buzz, I think is the one I was usually using. All right, so I won't worry about the trade backs. If we're going here, I would probably say the Jets would benefit the most and need to actually be a little bit more offense oriented for once. I think bringing us some of the guys over from the Lions makes sense. I will take Tyler Warren.
Ooh, get it. All right. That's almost like a Kyle Pitts pick. You know what I mean? Obviously different because Pitts is just a tall animal. But, okay. So, look, we were talking about him earlier. So, again, he's a tackle that could possibly swing into guard. Again, mainly looked at as a tackle. But, yeah, he's not my first pick.
Any position you want to see in particular?
No, we'll kind of look to see who they got right now. Edge, we're not looking at edge because we got Chop and Phillips as our starters. Will Johnson is there. Again, we do need a number 2. I'm gonna hold off on Will Johnson. Let's see who else we got. Some more edges. Kenneth Grant is there. That's a little higher than what I would want. I was thinking he's more of a later.
Probably
I would say late first round, early second round is kind of where I saw Grant. Same thing with Simmons. Let's scroll down just a little bit more, see who we got.
Kelvin Banks.
Yeah. Kelvin Banks. Yeah, that is a good, intriguing pick. I've been seeing him on a lot of Miami Dolphin mock drafts. Walter Nolan's in there.
Yeah, I think a lot of these interior guys, maybe it's
Golden's
a little early.
On there. Walker. There's that Gray Zabel I mentioned. See, if it Conley Jr., he's not bad either.
And then these are like day 2 guys.
Yeah, we're already on a day 2. If you go back to the top 5, I want to see. I might have to click on the Missouri guy. Let's take a look, see what they say. So 90, that's pretty good.
They don't have the. Yeah,
see, 6'3". 6'3" is actually on the smaller side for a tackle. That's why I'm almost thinking that he might be a good pick for a guard. Let's see.
Hasn't played much guard at all, but I know they played him. What was he at? Shrine Bowl, Senior Bowl, something like that.
Yeah, they moved him inside. Yeah. I'm almost thinking he's my pick. Go back one. Let me just take one last glance at the rest of the field.
So, ooh, couple edge guys, Johnson.
Right now, it's between him and Will Johnson.
Yeah. Okay.
Just
Thanks.
because of that need is so high right now. Because with getting rid of Kendall Fuller, we don't have a number 2. Dang, look at that drop. It went from 90 overall grade to a 76 overall grade. But it's a different position, a different need.
Yeah, I mean, well, Will Johnson probably is the more secure guy, right? I think
Lock it in.
You want Johnson?
Yep. Send
All
in the
right.
pick. Send in the pick. That would be a very, very, very surprising pick for Miami. I don't see that happening, but with the way the board fell,
He would
that's what I would
be.
do. So my draft targets were those safeties.
Yeah.
If Aston Gentine, if he falls to us, the Boise State running back, I wouldn't be mad. I would say maybe get him to be teamed up. A power back. We have our own Sonic and Knuckles with him and Achan. Whoo! But yeah, I think Will Johnson would be up there if Will Campbell's not there. So
Fair play. I'm surprised they gave you a B for this.
oh, that's right. Actually, I was going to go the guard. What was I thinking? I was thinking offensive line no matter
He
what.
came off.
Already, I'm regretting my pick.
He came off right after your
right after me.
selection.
Yeah,
Armand Mimbu went right after to the
so
Colts.
that's honestly, if I redid this and if I had to redo, I honestly immediately regret because I forgot he was back on the board. This is why I'm not a GM, everybody.
Can you imagine the pressure? 10 minutes on the clock. You got, top 3 needs. There's a guy you really love, doesn't necessarily, move the needle at the position you really wanted to. But I would love to be a fly on the wall in one of those rooms.
Yeah, no, honestly, that's the best. That's why Draft Day is one of my all-time favorite movies. I watch it every draft day. I probably watch it 3 days leading up to it also. So, but man,
that's about my yearly ritual too. Yeah, this is good. Well, so for the rest of you all that's still sticking with us, you'll know I plan to link with him again. We'll probably do like a fuller mock draft specific episode or something like that. We'll see free agency coming up in a week and all that good stuff. But he'll definitely be back for us to link up for something else. Most likely will be a mock draft. We'll get a little deeper into it.
Yeah, I think after free agency, because that's when we'll know where our biggest holes are after free agency. I say probably like a week before the draft, we can do like I'll be up for a 7th rounder. Like that's usually where I go hard with my mock drafts, where I'll literally have my phone screenshots of like 30 different mock drafts. So, I mean, that's just what I do when I'm bored. I'll just sit there like, oh, 7th round mock draft. Let's see who we can get. So, I'll definitely be ready for that and hopefully not try to mulligan on my first pick. So,
fair play. Well, we'll have some more redemption with some more picks for the people that weren't happy for sure. But yeah, this was dope. Again, for you all that's been hanging out with us, I have the link to his channel in the description. B Show 58. Appreciate you dropping some support to my man. Spread the news. I'll probably put something in a post too as a recap for you guys to use for links and all that good stuff as well. But at some point maybe we'll have an AFC East roundtable, depending on time and whatnot. We get a whole little AFC East discussion going on in here. But be Trill, Finn's Football Podcast. You'll catch him there again. I don't know if you have any Instagram, Twitter stuff you want to shout out.
Yeah, I do have X Twitter. It's this Finn's Football Podcast. You can find me on YouTube at my Finn's Football Podcast channel. I don't think I dropped an Instagram for it yet. Again, still new in the game. Everything you see behind me is pretty much going to be changing, and I got boxes of memorabilia. I got like 50 jerseys. I got LED lights I still got to hang up. So I'm building, I'm growing. And as I always put in all my channels, any suggestions that you guys think that will help out, I'm always open to it. On my channel, I think I have my Gmail if you want to hit me up privately and not put it in a comment in the video. Again, I'm always open to everything. So And again, I always appreciate the support. Dion, it's been a minute since we talked. We used to work together in Vegas, and yeah, many moons ago. But hope you're doing well. Hope the family is doing well. And again, I always appreciate the support and opportunities to grow and catch up.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, it's I think I shared this story at a high level before, but yeah, he trained me up for a program that we were on before. So in a lot of ways, he's kind of helped boost where I'm at with things right now. Big tech
Yeah,
guy, secretly,
yeah.
secretly. So he'll hopefully be, watching him. We'll be upgrading the channel here and getting some things a little bit more professionalized. But I appreciate you coming through, my man, spending some time with me. Looking forward to linking up again. But yeah, we'll be in touch.
All right, perfect. Yeah, as always, and I appreciate it again for the invite. And yeah, thanks for everybody for tuning in. And catch me later. Catch me through either links or reposting. But yeah, until next time, you guys
Peace,
have a
everyone.
have good mock drafting, and we'll catch up with we'll share our homework and see what we did later on.
Yes, sir. Cool. Everybody have a good one.
All right, adios.